Okay, so as you can see right now, we have Jeremy Knight with us today on the Wired for Real Estate podcast. Jeremy is a YouTube sensation in the real estate space. He's been interviewed by Tom Ferry, BAM, local news channels, and probably he'll be on Inman soon. I don't know. We haven't talked about that, but everybody's interviewing Jeremy Knight because he has made a ton of money on YouTube, generating leads for free and building an empire. And today we're going to battle Jeremy Knight and ChatGPT on why YouTube is incredible for real estate.
Well, I don't know why
Wired
we would
for Real Estate podcast, the show that's all about empowering agents with the latest tech, tools, and tactics to take your business to the next level. If you're a producing agent who's looking to boost your productivity and enhance your marketing effectiveness, you're in the right place.
Join us as we explore the cutting-edge strategies and insights that are shaping the real estate industry today. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, our expert guests and valuable tips and to help you succeed.
So sit back, tune in, and get ready to elevate your real estate game with the Wired for Real Estate podcast.
Okay, we accidentally cut off Jeremy.
That's fine. What were you saying, Jeremy? What were you saying?
No. I was impressed. I was impressed by that intro. Thank you. No, I was like, well, I don't know why I would argue against ChatGPT. I mean, I use ChatGPT pretty much every week now. So,
well, and I think that's kind of part of it, right? So there are still a lot of people that haven't hopped on YouTube, the YouTube train yet, a lot of realtors, and now ChatGPT is coming out, and some realtors kind of like fear for their jobs, and that's kind of why we created this channel. It's like you have already created a successful business, and what you just said is you're also leveraging ChatGPT. So that's part of the conversation. Some people think they can just go type something and all the magic happens. And it's like, that's not really the case. You still have to know what you're doing. And that's why you're here.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. Besides ChatGPT, there's a lot of other AIs that you can use, but what's really great about ChatGPT is not, for those times, I find it useful for those times that I'm stuck, right? Where I'm like, okay, I got to come up with content. I don't really love what I'm talking about. Or I'll take an article, right? And so I'll read an article and then I'm like, how would I really want to say this? And so what I'll do is literally copy the entire article and then I'll go into ChatGPT and say, hey, write me a 3-paragraph summary of this and make it spicy and fun. And then it kind of sounds a little bit more like me because I say a lot of spicy, fun things. So it's easier because then I'm like, okay, but then I'll read it and be like, I hate all of that. And then I'll realize what I want to say. So I think it's like another way to really kind of find your voice, even if you don't know what your voice is. I think it's a really great tool for that.
Man, that was super cool. Why don't we start off, Melody, with ChatGPT? We're going to pull it up. So what we like to do.
What are we asking?
That's a good question. What we like to do is pull up ChatGPT and basically ask the question about whatever the topic is. So if we're talking about YouTube, I think the question would be, what is the best way to generate real estate business using YouTube? Jeremy, does that sound like a good question to ask?
Let's see what it says.
Well, that's the point, because this is what I meant by battle, right? Because you're going to say, maybe, or yes, no.
Well, so besides ChatGPT, there's another, it's like Ask a Local or something like that. I forget what it is. What the heck is that? Anyway, I forget what it's called. I can look for it later, but you can actually look, if I just type in Austin, Texas, like what's the most searched terms for Austin, Texas? Like that's a freaking great way to go. Oh, I could get a video talking about this because it looks like this is the most looked up thing. Or if I type in Austin housing market, like what are the titles and things people are searching for? Usually I'm doing this because it comes in as a wheel for some reason. So there's those two things, but I'm curious, type in something like, what are the 5 best topics for someone looking to buy a home in Austin?
Well, I want to talk about both.
Yeah.
I want to talk about both.
To find your target audience. Yeah.
So,
I mean,
so the point of it, like what we really want to cover is why are real estate agents not using YouTube? what are the things that YouTube can do for them, and
Yeah.
how can ChatGPT, like, what does ChatGPT think about that?
Okay.
Right? Because a lot of people don't think of YouTube as a lead generation source.
Yeah, it's a massive lead generation source. And I think, for a long time. So here's the thing. Here's why real estate agents aren't using YouTube at a high effective way. Number one, it's not easy to understand right away.
Mm.
Okay. Right. It's labor intensive. It's not just, hey, I can make a post on Facebook about me just selling a home and 20 people like it and comment on it. So boom. If you put a video out on YouTube that you spent a lot of time on, you may not get that many views. I mean, I have a video I just spent a long time putting together for this week that we're barely at 200 views today, which is like nothing for my channel when I put out a standard video. Or normally by now it's almost 1:00 today. I'm at 1,000 views. So this video is just getting demolished. And it's because it's not something people are searching for yet. The subject title in which I'm talking about and the way it created the video is all about an area that's close to me, that giving really strong information that people are searching for. Now, what's going to happen from this video, I could stress about the fact that I don't have 1,000 views, or I could be happy with the fact that I'm 250 views, because those 250 views are probably going to get me more business than that 1,000 views. So here's what agents get into the problem, right? They go, okay, it's easier to make short content. It's easier to make fun of realtors or make fun of my clients on Instagram or on TikTok. So I'm going to make this short content. Now, I'm not saying every agent does that, but I'm just saying, like, what I see agents do wrong with it is they do that. Like, you can come up with really creative content that's really punchy, that's more labor intensive, like Ian creates with his backflips and all that stuff. That stuff's not, it's easy to create, but it's not easy to create, right? It's easy in the sense that people think it's so hard to do that, but it's just taking the time to do it, learn it, and create it is labor intensive in that short moment. It's not easier to make disappearing texts and go like that. It takes you 30 minutes versus Ian's videos probably take him 2 to 3 hours to fully shoot, commit, and edit to the way they look. Same thing with you doing YouTube content. The difference between the two, and not saying one's better than the other, but YouTube, you're creating a much deeper relationship with that client base. Because think about it. If somebody watches a 30-second reel or short of you, they kind of get a glimpse into you. Whereas if they're watching 10, 15 minutes, they're getting a little bit bigger, a little bit more of a in-depth view of you. And now they can click on the next video that's going to give you another 10, 20 minute view time, another 10-minute view time. And so the reality is, when I have clients reach out to me, they go, hey, Jeremy, I've been a fan of your channel. I see all the other agents out there that are doing YouTube, but I feel like you really know what you're doing, you and your team. So we want to work with you. The reality is that transaction ends up being so much easier for me because they've spent a lot of time and energy listening to me already. So they already know what to expect. And it makes it. And then if you look at the reviews, like, oh my God, the night group was so great. It's not that we were just so great. It's just that you listened early. And then when it came time to have those tough conversations, you already knew that we know what we're talking about because we've given you so much info. So you are more trusting, and there's not that argument. How many times have you had to fight with a client over something so small in a contract? Whereas when I say, hey, look, here's why we do it, this is why we've done it, they're like, okay. Right? It's much better conversation. So now the stuff with the shorts and the reels that people do is totally fine. It's great. If it gets you business, it gets you business. Yet I imagine that you're still going to have a little more struggles throughout the contract with those people, just because there's not that full trust involved. And now, not saying that it's perfect when I work with every client now, but I would say our clients are much easier to work with because we've given up so much value ahead of time.
I love it, man. And I agree wholeheartedly. Can we pull up the ChatGPT and start looking through those, Melody?
Yep.
Okay. So I agree with this so far. Define your audience, 100%. Define your audience. Number one, that's what you should be doing. When Ian and I teach classes on YouTube, that's usually the number one thing we talk about. Create your audience. Create information, engaging content. Pretty self-explanatory there. Showcase properties. Yeah, I think that's a good one. It's good because people are voyeurs. They want to get inside a property. They want to see something. They want to be along with you. I mean, I watch a lot of on YouTube. I watch car stuff, right? And watch stuff I'm into. And I'm looking at dumb cars with these people, but they're taking me into their life and I'm enjoying it. Right. So yeah, show properties, optimize your video. So use keywords, tags, relevant titles.
I know you have a lot to say about that. We can come back to that one.
I don't disagree. I mean, definitely use tags, definitely use relevant titles. I think where it really should say in this number 4 is have eye-catching thumbnails, because there's 3 parts to people watching a video. Number 1, title, right? If I'm Googling or something or searching for something and your title hits the criteria,
perfect. Show your channel.
Sure, go ahead. So
title is this thing, in case nobody knows what the title is.
Right. So the one next to it, the Elon Musk set to take over Austin, that video really is more about what's happening in Austin. I briefly talk about Elon Musk, but it's a way to get people engaged. Now that video is done really well for me. Actually, I've had 3 leads from that video in the last week.
In 7 days.
Yeah.
3 leads in 7 days.
When you say leads, are they buyer leads, seller leads, or are they relocation?
2 were buyer, 1 was seller.
Okay.
And they were, 1 was relocation, 1 lives here.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then there you go. There's a property tour video right there. Austin, not worth moving to. That's just, I forget what I did in that video. Anyway, so the 3 points, let's talk about the 3 points. So I could use a ton of SEO to put these videos in front of somebody. But if the title and the thumbnail don't match, or the keywords don't match the title, or the keywords don't match the thumbnail, all 3 of those have to be in alignment to work. I would say really you could put 0 tags, have a really, really catchy title and a really good thumbnail, and that would do much better for you than having a bunch of tags. Because the reality is YouTube's still trying to find out where to put your videos. The tags are suggestions for it. So YouTube's still going to try to put that in front of an audience for you.
Cool. Okay, let's take a look at the other one here.
Yeah. What was number 5? Yeah. Number 5, collaborate. That's what we do a lot. Yeah. And I think here's the thing, as real estate agents, we get into this mentality that we can't collaborate. We have to protect all of our business. Every agent's out to get our business, without realizing, and I think this was really special about the brokerage route at Real, is that we all realize that the more collaboration we do, the better it is for the agent community, the better it is for each agent. And reality is we all get better out of it. So I think, Ian and I on this channel have had the number 1 agent in all of Austin on the channel, interviewing him, talking about the Austin market that we both live in and both work in. Now, the reality is that the clients that resonate to me are going to resonate to me. Clients that resonate to Ian, there's people that have come through my channel and worked with Ian because they like and work, and that's fantastic. That's what the whole thing's for. Number 6, call to action and content information. I would be very careful about what your call to action is. I don't think that's a bad thing. But a lot of agents think the call to action is like, hey, call me.
My gosh.
Yeah, or they start their videos with, hey, I'm a real estate agent in the Austin area. I've been working here for 8 years. I love it. I sell so many homes. I'm fantastic. Man, you're going to lose your audience right away. 100% going to lose your audience right away.
Well, I like that Melody pulled this up. So you have call to actions in the description.
Yep.
You have soft. I know you have soft call to actions. They don't seem like a call. You're not saying call me right now, but through your language, you're enticing people to want to reach out to you. It's very clever the way you do it.
And you can do it in such a subtle way. So here's a prime example. So when Ian and I are on the live streams, right, is a prime example. We're talking about a neighborhood. I'm like, yeah, actually, I just had a client go under contract in that specific neighborhood. We had these issues come up because of this in the neighborhood, but we got through them because we did this, this, and this, and this. And my client's super happy. Without realizing it. And Ian does the same thing on the channel too. Oh, I just helped the client there. We ran this issue with the builder. The builder was trying to buy out my client, whatever. And those are subtle ways of us saying, hey, these are the areas we work and our clients trust us because these are the ways that we've gotten them out of trouble or kept them out of trouble. And that's a much better call to action than I've been doing this for 15 years. I know what I'm doing. Call me.
Oh, it's so
well,
funny.
And nobody needs, like, you don't have to say call me because they'll find you. Like I find
Yeah.
a lot of my YouTubers will go hop on my Instagram and follow me for a bit before they reach out because I see them on there. And then recently I had someone reach out to me and I'm just like, I just played dumb and I said, hey, I'm just wondering where you found me from. Oh, we've been watching you on YouTube and then we followed your Instagram.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, they don't.
And that's a challenge too for agents that do attraction for other agents. If your Instagram is all set up to be agent attraction, yet your YouTube leads are flowing into your Instagram, they're going to get super confused.
They're like, do you sell
So
houses or not?
do you sell houses or not? And so that's why I think it's, using YouTube, like Ian's prime example, we came up with a really good strategy and he's executed it very, very well, where it's 4 real estate posts to 1 post about the brokerage
on Instagram.
And so what'll happen is if your audience is coming in from YouTube and they're looking at your short form content and then they see a video about your brokerage, it's just solidifying that you're at a good spot for them.
Yeah.
Whereas as an agent, you see all of these posts about, all the work you're doing. And then the post about Real Broker, you're like, that Real Broker thing sounds interesting. I'm wondering what Ian's doing there. And so I think, but if you are just like, some agents want to do just this whole, Instagram page of helping agents get business or helping agents. If your YouTube channel flows to that, there's going to be a huge disconnect from your YouTube audience coming in, unless your YouTube audience is other realtors.
Right. Well, you have mostly content for clients, which is what you obviously get from it.
Well,
can you share, like, I see here you have like 15,000 subscribers. Yep. Can you share like how much business you get every year from YouTube? Like when did you start YouTube for people who don't know?
Yeah. So I'd been doing YouTube probably since like 2017, yet I would say it was more of putting dumb videos on a website that did nothing. So I wasn't really using YouTube the effective way. Late 2019, I sat down with Christina Smallhorn, good friend of mine, and I said, look, my YouTube channel is not growing. I've had people tell me they like my channel, but it's not informative enough. And I don't know what I should be doing differently. And so we came up with a content strategy that was 4 different types of content. We were going to be making more informative content, or I was going to be making more informative content, and having, instead of calls to action, just more proof of concept. And so in late 2019, I started off with my first video, and within about 3 months, I started getting leads from it. And I think agents now can do it at a much faster pace than what I did. Like, let's say right now you're like, Jeremy, I want to start a YouTube channel and get business out of it. I think you can actually do it at a much faster pace than what I did it, because I was doing it wrong for so long that when I made that change, YouTube had to figure out the new analytics for me. And so from there, I mean, we went from being a $12 to $15 million producing husband-wife team to 35 the very first year that I made that change. So 2020, I mean, we tripled our business virtually by doing that. Also, we started using Chime, which is a product we get at Real. And that revolutionized how I was capturing my leads. And that really helped me out. So by mid 2020, while everybody was crying about the pandemic and drinking and eating, which is I did a lot of, I started seeing leads. I started seeing a lot of leads. And then 2021, 2022, we were doing, I would say from YouTube. Now, here's where I got into problems with not having a big enough team. I was having to refer off a lot of my business because I just could not take it all on. So we did probably per year about 17 million a year just in referral deals in Austin.
And then plus your YouTube.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. So, so we were referring a lot of business out. Yeah. And so then we started a team, which a team thing is just been a challenge for me. I just, so we're kind of going back to that referral method right now, but yeah. So I would say in the 3 years that I've really done YouTube, probably close to 170 million in production.
Yeah, it's huge. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. You started same time as I got into Karen Carr's class in 2019. So kind of did the same thing. Tom Ferry said, get on video in 2016 or something. We got a selfie stick at the Elite Retreat. And I'm like, I guess I should go on video. But it was awful video. It's like eyes fluttering and bad quality and everything. But I think it's just get on there and be consistent. Because I saw on your channel, you're consistent. Are you doing videos weekly or multiple times a week, or what are you doing?
Yeah, so I just started really kind of diving a little bit more into YouTube Shorts. So if you're going to count those against me, I would probably say we're doing 6 to 7 videos a week. But I have one long form video that I put out every Tuesday. That's my standard bread and butter content. Ian and I do Real Amigos. We've been kind of doing every other week. We were doing every single week, and with the market kind of changing, I could definitely see a drop off in interest. So we've now pulled back on how much content we're putting out on Real Amigos. So we were doing and Ian, we need to do Thursday night this week, by the way, if you're available. But we do that. We'll do that once every other week, and then I'll cut some clips from that. Like we'll have like 5 or 6 topics that we'll talk about. And so in that hour long that we do, I'll have my editor cut shorter content out of that we put out. But then if you add shorts in there, I'm putting out probably 3 to 5 shorts a week.
Can you tell me more about? Yeah, the shorts is a big thing because I don't know if I'm really a fan of them. I don't know what to think of them. Like, what do you use them for?
So there's quite a few different strategies you can use. Obviously, what I'll do is I'll take a clip from a video I've done to try to redirect. So people, here's a tough thing is some people that watch shorts, if you go into YouTube and you're scrolling through YouTube and then you see the short bar, if you click on the short bar and you're watching shorts, you don't want to really watch a long video unless there's something very compelling in that short that makes you go, oh, I want to hear the longer version of this. So yeah, you're good.
So are you saying, just for clarity, are you saying that it kind of separates your audience's interest level so that way you still maintain a high level of watch time?
Yes, it does separate your audience. So if you look, it'll show you like how many impressions and views you're getting from your short content. And then it'll show you like the longer form content as well. So you're really, the thing you need to focus on most on YouTube is your watch time. And so if I'm putting out a clip from a video that I did, it's trying to get them to then go watch a full longer video. The other short content I'm creating is trying to be a little bit more a mix between informational and fun. Like here's a video right here where we're talking about, I had a listing. And so this was a video about a listing that I had, and I had a really interesting thing in the house, which was a bidet. Now, people in Texas are afraid of bidets. It's just a thing. Okay. And so I thought it'd be fun to talk about. Yeah. Or maybe I'm just afraid of a bidet. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
you don't want to sit down to.
I think they're gross. That's decided.
No. Yeah. This is a sidebar.
Yeah.
But
Sidebar.
I had one installed in every bathroom in our house.
So
that's weird. Okay, Jeremy, keep going.
Oh my gosh, no. Anyway,
in my open house, everybody kept going, "Oh my God, look at this toilet!" And so I kind of was like, "All right, fine. Let me just make a short walking through the home." And so basically, all I did was like, people are really interested in this house, but it's not because of the cool backsplash. It's not because of the cool countertop or the open concept. It's not because of this. It's not because of this. It's because of this. And I show them the toilet. Right. And so that's super informative because I'm selling the house I'm in, right? Which I'm showing all the interesting things without you going, oh, he's showing me a house again. Okay, it's another house. But hey, I got to get to the thing. And then what do you think? Do you want a bidet? And people in the comments are like, no, bidets are stupid. Oh, I love bidets. I have one in every room, right? So it was a fun little video, but that's a good way to kind of mix humor and what you're doing in life. And I think that's what keeps people entertained as well, right? People on YouTube really want more informational stuff. And so that's what's great about YouTube. But if you can find a way to mix your personality with information, I think that's where you'll grow a bigger audience.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Because I just, the whole shorts thing, I'm still not completely sold on.
What I would try to do is like when you put out a long form video, go to.
It's like read purposely or.
No, it should be my email. Hold on. It is. not Melody. It's here we go. vidyo.ai.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just there's a lot of cool little features you can do on there. Drop it in there, and then you can kind of it'll create like a short for you from that video. And
Yeah.
so you can mess with those a little bit. What I'll do is I'll go in and make that on there. And then I'll go drop it down into my editing software, and I'll drop out a few things. I'm like, yeah, I should just take this out or that out. And then I'll throw that short out. And so it's a good way to kind of help you repurpose some of that long form content. And I'll find sometimes that those shorts do actually better than the video I put out.
Well, I noticed that the shorts do really well at the beginning, and then it kind of dies
They
off.
die. Yeah.
Versus the other one, the long form, it's like over time, it just gets better and better.
That's because YouTube's really trying to get short content out in front of people. They're trying to compete with Instagram and TikTok. So they're trying to get that out there as quick as they can. And then it's tough though, because they go by watch time. Your videos get promoted more on YouTube by watch time. So if you have a 10-minute video that gets 70% watch time, YouTube's going to try to find where else they can get more views. They want to sell more ads.
Do you think if it was a new agent starting off tomorrow, what would you say they should focus on?
I would not do shorts. I know everybody is saying, do shorts, do shorts, do shorts. I wouldn't do shorts. I would put out 5 or 6, maybe 10 videos of long form. And then I would cut some of those and be careful of what you're doing on Instagram and not necessarily take that directly over and use it. Cause that's what people like, I argued with Bam, Broke Agent Media one time because they're like, just repurpose everything. And it was kind of an off the cuff comment. And so I took issue with that. And so we had a big back and forth. TikTok, as Ian knows, and I'm sure you know, Melody, or it's its own thing. When you try to repurpose it onto Instagram, it can work, but you still have to take off the TikTok logo. There's still some hoops you have to go through, and it may not do as well as an Instagram. And then if you take that and purpose that onto YouTube, now you have 3 different types of content catchers, and you're trying to put that same content that did well on one and get the other views out of the others, and it may not work just because YouTube is a little bit more informational, whereas TikTok and Instagram are a little more fun.
I do think the repurposing makes sense, but like you said, I experimented with it this last 6 months, and the short version of YouTube and throw it on to Instagram as a reel, not the greatest. So what we're doing now is we're creating content on Instagram that is real, like it's focused for Instagram, but it's from the content of the YouTube video. So if I'm talking about the top 5 neighborhoods, I do the pointing thing on Instagram, and then the call to action on Instagram is to check out the full video on YouTube. And that does better than throwing in like a snippet from YouTube. That's just what we're kind of playing around with. We all don't want to do 5 million things, but if you want to do well at it, you're going to have to be good. Like you didn't get good at YouTube because you took an Instagram strategy and put it into YouTube. I don't even think you can do that. So
I just focused on making long form content, and then shorts came up later. Yeah.
What are your most like, what's the best video that's performing on your channel of all time?
Well, I have one that's got probably 300,000 views on YouTube. It's the biggest regret moving from California to Austin. So if you're looking at just from a statistical standpoint of views and watch time, my best video. If you want to know the best video that gets me the most business, it's when I'm talking about neighborhoods and not necessarily pros and cons. I don't like that as a title personally. It might work on other people's channels. It just hasn't worked on mine. But when I'm like doing in-depth walkthroughs on specific things and talking about specific topics, people tend to like that more. The housing market videos, the seller videos that I've done, which are sellers in big trouble right now. And we just go through what's happening in the market and how it's going to impact sellers. I get more listings out of those videos than I do anything. I mean, out of mailers, everything. And those videos, I mean, they cost me a couple $100 to make really at this point, but, they generate thousands of dollars.
When you started the YouTube channel, did you get mostly buyers first, or were you always getting both buyers and sellers?
Well, you get what you talk about. And so,
yes,
if I'm talking about if I have a listing up in so I'm down South Austin, if I'm talking about a lot of listings and stuff happening in Georgetown, which is an hour away from me, I'm going to get a ton of interest about Georgetown and all of that. So when I talk about sellers, I get a lot of seller leads. So initially I was just talking about information about Austin, and I was getting a lot of reloads in that. When I started talking more about what sellers are facing and, hey, buyers, pay attention because this is how you're going to be able to negotiate against these people. Now I've got both ears open, right? The sellers and the buyers. When I create more of that content, I get a lot of sellers. So yes, I did get a lot of buyers at first, and now we get a lot more. We get good mix of both now.
I like unintentionally got sellers because like last year, everyone was so busy. I'm like, I don't want to do video anymore. All I did was my housing market update and listing videos. And then I got a ton of listing leads from YouTube.
Yep.
It wasn't on purpose.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I mean, look at Brad McCallum. He's got a
Mhm.
big channel where all he does is property tour videos. He gets I would imagine a fair amount of buyers, but he probably gets more sellers because of the quality of those videos. Suman Kim in my market, all he does is video walkthroughs of new construction homes. I mean, he gets a lot of the builders that want to work with him and partner with him on stuff. He gets, he gets a fair amount of I mean, I don't think he gets very many sellers out of it, but he does get a lot of buyers looking for that stuff. The challenge is when he started that channel, a lot of those builders were only offering like 1% commission. So I mean, I think he had a tough time with that for a while.
That's interesting. You say you get what you talk about, because that's the same thing. Like I talk about new builds because I wanted to educate people. You can use an agent when you're buying new build.
Yeah.
And then that's what I get. Even the areas, I don't talk about all the areas in the city. People are like, hey, can you make a video on this? I'm like, no, I don't want to sell over there.
Yeah.
And because then your clients end up being, where you want to be if you
Right.
don't talk about those areas. Right.
Right.
So that's interesting.
And that's why I just did a video about Dripping Springs. Obviously, I just moved this direction. I have in my neighborhood, I get on Friday night, we had a big food truck night, and I have not promoted in my brand new neighborhood. I have not promoted my YouTube channel because I didn't want to be the guy that moves into a new neighborhood and goes all over Facebook and becomes the jerk realtor trying to swoop in. Right. I don't want to be that guy. So I'm walking around this food truck night. It's the first one. We've been here a year. I have not gone to a food truck night yet. It's the first one. My wife was getting annoyed because every 10 feet, somebody's like, oh, I love all your YouTube videos. I watch your YouTube videos. I love your content. I even sent Ian a picture of a guy who's like, oh, I love you. And I'm like, he's like, I've worked with Ian. I sent Ian a picture. He's like, I don't know who that guy is. It's kind of
when you sent it, I don't know who he is either. When you said he worked with me, I was like, dude, I don't know.
Yeah, I think he worked with
another person.
Yeah, no, I think he worked with a builder, and he said he had worked with Ian on a deal. So I think that's because later he clarified that.
Well, this is actually a really good point. How many people have you worked with, would you say, that you've never met?
I mean, 70% of my clients.
Isn't that crazy?
More.
Isn't that crazy? How about you, Melody?
I'm probably like 50% because I still have a lot of Sphere.
Yeah.
So I had 50-50 because basically it's Sphere and YouTube. That's my business.
So I've been thinking about this a lot. I had a lot of people that I had never met. And so now what I'm doing is the buyer consult on video. And I would try to do that before, but now it's like purposefully so that I at least can say that I've talked to them and that we've seen each other, because they're all seeing us, but we're not seeing them. So I think
that's the interesting thing. They see you, they feel comfortable with you.
Yes.
Like I've had couples fight in front of me because they're just so comfortable with me. And I'm like, I just met you 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
I don't know who you are.
I love it.
Super weird. I threw up the questions in case anybody who's watching live wants to ask a question. Since we've got Jeremy here. Ian, do you have more questions to ask?
Well, I think so Jeremy, you covered a lot of things that are really relevant. So it seems like what ChatGPT says for building a YouTube presence could make sense, but it also seems very generic.
Yes.
Right? It's a very generic thing. I think my biggest question is, if somebody was starting off, what would you recommend they focus on? I know you kind of hit on it a little bit, but also why is it important? Right?
Okay. So Melody, pull back up the ChatGPT thing.
I love it.
I will pull it. Oops, not this one.
Yeah, you got to be careful what sites you put up there.
I know.
All right, scroll back up to the number 1.
Yeah.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah.
Define your
Define your
audience.
target audience.
Excellent.
Yes. It's not just, I'm a realtor. Look at me.
Yeah. This is
Now,
I think
people in the States have told me this because I'm in Canada and we don't have this rule. But you guys have a rule on like not being able to market to a certain demographic, right?
Wait, what?
Your fair market housing or something.
Oh, well, we can't discriminate,
yeah.
but what we talk about will attract the audience that we're trying to reach. Right. But we can't say, hey, I'm using this as an example. I can't say, hey, I'm Muslim, you're Muslim. That means that you should work with me.
Yeah.
Like you can't do anything direct like that.
Yeah. I can't go for all my Asian friends that are wanting to find a great Asian community. Here you go.
Yeah.
that would be a really bad
United States. That's crazy. But through language,
I could talk about where H-Mart is, but I can't.
It comes out through language.
This is funny that you say this because on my YouTube channel, I tend to get a certain demographic, and I'm married to a Caucasian person, and all my friends are not Asian. But
wait, is he Caucasian or does he identify as Caucasian?
What?
I said, is he Caucasian or does he identify as Caucasian?
No. He probably is more. I call him an egg. He's white on the outside and yellow on the inside.
So he identifies. See, there you go.
But anyways, when we have buyer consultations and we talk one-on-one, they do ask me things like, "What is this area like in terms of people?" And I think they feel more comfortable asking me that than some person that's not the same. They're not always the same ethnicity, but it is a very multi-ethnic group that I get. When I attract, and I don't do that on purpose. It's not like I say, "Hey, look at me." Yeah. My YouTube channel is focused on families, so I do get a ton of young families on my channel, and that was the defining your target audience. That was the biggest shift for me. Was to change my videos, even my housing market, to talk about. I'm talking specifically to you as a family looking to move up. This is how the market affects you.
And I think it's one really important thing to note when you're defining your audience. Think about where you are in your real estate business and where you want to go. So you're talking about working with families. Fantastic. Families are in every price point, right? Yeah. You have the entry family, the middle family, the family that's bought and sold all the homes and now they're moving up to their big castle. But do you want to work with entry level? Do you want to work with the mid-range? Do you want to work with luxury? What is your audience? You can subdivide that and create content on those levels, right? And it's all about what you talk about. So the reason why I say this is that when I started YouTube, my median price point was like 300,000. Like when I got a $500,000 deal, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Right? Well, I started talking about neighborhoods with higher price points. I started talking about areas with higher price points. Well, guess what? I got my first $1.5 million client. I got my first $4 million client. I got my first $6 million client. I got my first $3 million client because I was showing and talking about homes and neighborhoods and areas that I wanted to work in. Now, a lot of people in the comments, this guy only talks about the rich areas.
That same thing. They get mad.
Yeah. Okay. And
yes,
I apologize that you can't afford in those areas. That's unfortunate for you. But if you'd like to work with me, I could show you areas that fit your budget, that fit what you want. And you're more than welcome to come work with me. I'd love to work with you. So we still get clients in every price point. But when I'm talking about content, I'm primarily talking about stuff in the 750 plus range. Plus I live in an area that's really right now 750 plus. So when I'm doing content about, hey, you can buy affordable homes in this area under 500,000. Here's where it is. People lose their minds. Right.
And that makes sense. Cause like our new builds are higher price point. So because I talk about it, I get that price point. Right. I did that $1 million listing I got. He just only watched one of my market stats videos. And I always think they're so boring, but I think it just shows your expertise as well as a realtor, right? Like,
well, I also think if that's your audience, if he's a numbers person.
Apparently the majority of people who watch my YouTube channel are men and they're all analytic.
That identify as Caucasian.
I don't know. I'll show you this. This is like, this is what I suppose like you guys are not allowed to do, but See, I
Well,
have like
so
this. You guys can't do that.
no.
I probably could if it's my
Right.
family on there. Is that
No,
your
but
family?
it's my family.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Then, yeah.
But the fact that you say 4 families, the question becomes, so what are you saying? You won't help people that aren't families? That's how people
Yeah.
are in the US. What are you
Well,
saying? You won't
we're
help
getting
families?
there. We're getting
Yeah.
there. We're getting woke. Don't even get
Well,
me started.
yeah, we're working your way north. Sorry.
Yeah. But no, this is what changed my YouTube channel was actually just being more targeted. But I don't have. We've done the same thing. These are just pros and cons work for me. So we just kind of kept doing pros and cons videos because that's what
Yeah.
they wanted.
And
And
if it's bringing in conversations, that's the goal of all of this. For any agents that are watching, you should all be agents that are watching. The goal of this is to generate conversations and business, not just to say you have a channel, not just to get tons of views. Like that's the point of all this. And then having the ability now to even leverage, like Jeremy said, to leverage something like Chat GPT or Vidya that will help you create content or come up with content. You still share your presence, and then it's disseminated so that you don't have to worry about all of the other. There's just so much for us to think about. This is a great focus. YouTube is a great focus. And one last caveat. Melody, Jeremy, and myself are all elite agents at Real Broker, which means we've all done good levels of production and we all have solid YouTube channels that have helped us with our business. So we're not just blowing smoke. This is serious. And Jeremy, I mean, you can see his stuff. So
one thing, yeah, I appreciate that. One thing, Melody, I will click back on your channel. I saw something that I thought was quite interesting. I love, and it was more of a I love versus interesting. What I wanted to point out is you can still brand through YouTube. And I love how your brand is like, if you look at your thumbnails, you're not writing the full title and the thumbnail with your words. You're picking specific words that you're making much bigger than the others. So schools, okay. And now I'm drawn in with the schools. I'm looking at Alberta, BC. Okay. All right. That's something I want to watch. And then I'm going to read the title now. Best is so big. And then neighborhoods obviously probably didn't fit. So you probably had to make it smaller, but I'm like best neighborhoods part 2. There's a part 1. I want to watch part 1. How do I find part 1? So I love that. Yeah. I love what you've done with the channel as far as making the fonts. Somebody who does a really, really good job with this too, which his stuff is, his thumbnails are completely basic. How he records are completely basic, but he has a big channel. Now he doesn't get business from his channel like you or I or Ian does, but Jason Walter, who does content out of California, he talks more about the market in general. Now he's probably making a lot of money from YouTube itself.
I was
so
say,
that's,
I'm surprised that he doesn't get a ton of business. His stuff is really good.
Well, he's from Sacramento. And so he only does, I mean, I think he's found a niche where he makes enough money that he can, I haven't asked him, but he makes enough money from YouTube that he doesn't have to sell. He can just keep creating that content. Now, because when I talked to him, I mean, he did a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't say a little bit, but he was selling 20, 25 homes a year.
Okay.
And I think he had dropped it down once he got really into YouTube. Plus he's grown a family. So it's harder. I mean, obviously we know it's hard to run
agents
families.
that want to be YouTubers. And then there's YouTubers who want to be real estate agents. Cause I've seen that here too.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. We've got a girl that we just had on our channel, just had on the Real Migos podcast. That's exactly that. You want to talk about her, Jeremy?
Yeah. She may be coming out to our event in September that we're doing. Her name is Monica Church. So she was initially like a vlogger YouTuber, and
like fashion or makeup or something.
No,
lifestyle?
like travel, like she did travel, lifestyle, stuff like that. And she made really great content. I mean, if you watch her non-real estate stuff, like her just travel vlog stuff, it's really good. I could see why she did so well. But then she transitioned into being a real estate agent in Seattle. And I mean, she even like did on her main channel, like kind of followed her path with it. and showed it wasn't as easy as people think it is trying to get into YouTube, well, into becoming a real estate agent. But she's grown a YouTube channel for her local market, which she does really well. I think she's doing, she said somewhere she did her first year like 20 million in production, her first year, which is fantastic.
That's fantastic.
I mean, that's a lot of work for a single agent. So, but all she did was transition and created a second channel. And so she's done very well with that. And so we're happy to invite her out in September when we do our event.
That's cool. Yeah, it's different. Definitely interesting because I mean, I personally think that'd be awesome to get. So when I got to the stage where you can monetize, I didn't want ads on my channel. So I didn't want to monetize, but then I realized they're going to put ads on your videos anyways. So
Yeah. Might as well just do it.
might as well do it.
Yeah. Get paid.
It is what it is.
I mean, you don't get paid very much, but the tens of dollars you do make.
The tens of dollars might cover like one light or something.
Yeah. I mean, and there's so many ways to make money off of YouTube too, right? So now I don't monetize the way other people do, but you know, I could create merch. I could create a line where I do paid counseling, paid coaching off the side. And a lot of agents are doing that now. There's so many different ways I could do that. It's just, how do I really want to spend my time? Do I need to do that? Right. And
what are you passionate about? Because you're not passionate. If you want to just sell real estate, then just focus on that. If that's what you actually want to do.
Right.
But there's lots of people that want to do different things. Like I'm doing coaching now because I'm actually passionate about it, but I'm never going to stop selling real estate. It's like kind of tied together.
Yeah.
Once I wasn't burnt out, I was like, oh, I do want to be a realtor still.
Yeah.
That's funny.
When you're burnt out, you're like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, so one thing to leave any agent. So let's say I've talked to some agents and I'm working with some agents who are trying to build their YouTube channel and they have a YouTube channel. I say that in quotations because it's literally there, but nothing else is there. What would your advice be to them in terms of getting the thing going? Because you were there too, right?
Yeah.
And we all were there.
Yeah. I would. So number one, I would really sit down and look at number one on the list we showed you there. Yep. Who is your audience? Okay. Because that's going to give you all the information you need, whether you realize it or not, to how the direction of your channel should go. And you can always pivot, right? But if you look and go, okay, I want to only focus on a client base in Austin that's tech savvy, that's either a family or tech savvy, that's in the tech industry, that's looking at 750 plus, that wants to be on the lake, near the lake, or only in luxury price points. That's what I want. And then you go, okay, now what are the things that people that are in luxury that want that price point, what do they actually want to hear? What do they need to hear? And then write out the things that you think they need to, and you'll probably be wrong. And so what then you should do is, once you've written down what you think, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, go to these places that have those people and ask those questions. What are the biggest questions you have about lake life in Austin? People will give you all the answers right there. Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Polls. Put a poll on your YouTube channel. If you're trying to change your content, put a poll on your YouTube channel. That's going to help you. Now, okay, so now I know people on the lake life want to know where what the schools are like. They want to know what private schools are there. They want to know what's the work-life balance in this area. Now make content about that. It's pretty simple. And so, I create content on, everybody wants to know the neighborhoods to live in, right? So I talk about the best neighborhoods to live in. You'll very seldomly hear me talk about neighborhoods in the 200,000 price point, which don't exist in Austin, but I'm going to be talking about the neighborhoods I want to work in.
Right. You talked about polls. How do you do that? I don't have polls on my YouTube channel.
You should have polls. So when you go go to your channel. Okay. We'll pull it up so we can see it.
Yeah.
It might not be in Canada. We'll see.
No, they should do it. Okay. Hey. All right. See right here on where it says homes, videos, shorts, live, click on community. Okay. this channel.
I haven't logged into my back end. Do I have to be in my back
You
end?
can
to
do
see it?
the post
Oh
up
yeah.
at the top.
Yeah. Go to your, well, that's where usually I post it at. So in your back end, you'll have to go into editor. Yes. Go YouTube Studio.
This is my other channel, but whatever. I'll just take
It
it.
doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah. So in YouTube Studio, you should be in settings. You should be allowed to open up your community. There you go.
And this is
So-
where you do the.
Yeah. So no, that's not where you're going to do it, but that's where you'll put in all your community information. And then you should be able to, so typically on my mobile, I'll click on my actual YouTube, not the, so I have the editor here, right? Or not editor, YouTube Studio, but
Mhm.
usually I go to YouTube, and at the bottom of my YouTube, I'll click on that plus bar in the middle.
Mhm.
Yep.
Right here. And it says create short, upload video, live,
Yep, we see
create a
it.
post. Click on create a post. Okay. And on the top, it'll say you want to do a poll, text, quiz, right? And so you can create it right there.
I have not played with the community section, so that'll be interesting.
I highly recommend you get going on community content.
So I'll tell you right now, I had my VA schedule out posts every week for the year. So every week I have a post going out that talks about hot topics, which of course I got from ChatGPT. And next year it'll be a little more focused on.
Do you post every day?
No, it's all
week?
pre-scheduled.
Right.
It's pre-scheduled for the rest of the year, just like you would do with a video.
But is she asking, is it pre-scheduled for every day or is it pre-scheduled for once
Oh,
a week?
no. I'm just doing, so kind of like Jeremy was talking about, I need to be consistent about activity on the channel. So a post happens once a week. Our Real Migos happens. Our, I do another, like any series of videos that I do.
You do like
and
live too? Because I know Ken Pozak does his lives.
No, that is live. Oh, so Real Migos is my live, right? So
okay.
Doing that, it spreads it across. So it seems like I'm putting out a lot of content throughout the week, but really it's keeping it afloat.
Yeah. This is
so
like
the posts are a great way to do it. It's
insane
like on
amount of
Instagram,
content
you
that
do
a
your
realtor
reels
has to put
versus your carousel. Yeah. Works pretty well.
Realtors are like just content creators now on top of being.
Oh,
realtors.
I know, it's another job.
Yes.
And I got a quote for a content creator that was not a VA, and then I swiftly hung up. No, thank you.
That's why you trained him young. I have my other kid who's been editing video for me since he was 10. So he's 15 now.
Which is hysterical because I literally sat here on Sunday morning with my son showing him how to edit videos. And he actually helped me edit an entire video. 10.
Yes. So when they're 10, they're young enough to be influenced to want to help dad. But when they're 13, 14, they don't want to do it anymore. I'm like, too bad. You know how to do it. You're getting paid. You're doing it.
Yeah.
I also understand by the time they're 18, if they don't want to do it anymore, I might lose them. But hey, I got some good time out of that. Everyone's always like, how do you get your kids to work for you? I'm like, you start when they're 10 because they actually want to work for you at 10 years old.
Yeah. Ian's going to have to rent some kids.
I've done that before. I didn't like it. No, I'm just kidding.
Renting kids is not going to work, I don't think, in this situation. But like, yeah, I have my detail-oriented kid helping me on the back end, the office stuff. And then I have the creative one doing his video editing has like gotten a lot better in 5 years too. So, but cool. Well, if anyone has any questions and they're watching afterwards, just comment and I'm sure we'll answer you guys. And we're going to have this on all of the different platforms. So if you've been listening on an audio format, I'd highly recommend hopping onto one of our YouTube channels so you can watch the video version of what Jeremy was talking about when he was talking about his channel and whatnot, because it's all visual. Yeah. But Ian, what's the thing?
You know our phrase, don't let indecision be the decision.
Be the decision.
I like it.
Jeremy's like,
I like it. Don't let indecision be the decision. I like it. It's good.
It's good. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Jeremy, always thank you for being here, and we will catch y'all soon.